The day the divorce was finalized, I, Grace Wilson, booked a high-speed train ticket back to my hometown. My phone, ID card, and a nearly empty bank card were all I had to show for these years. The butler called to say I'd left some belongings behind. "Throw them away," I replied. He added that young Master Liam kept asking for his mom. He'll have a new mother soon, the one he's always wanted. My biological son resembled his father in every way, even loving the same woman. There was a time I'd agonize over why it couldn't be me. Now, love's absence felt like an old scar, present but numb. Before the train departed, I delivered my final words through the phone: "Tell him he needn't worry. I'll never disturb him again." I powered off the device, swapped the SIM card, severing all ties to the city forever. A girl about Liam's age sat beside me, round eyes warily tracking my movements. I used to adore children. Now I felt nothing. She stayed quiet throughout the journey, unlike her guardian who shouted obscenities into his phone. I slid on headphones, drifting into uneasy sleep until small fingers tugged my sleeve. "Auntie." The girl pressed her lips thin. "My mom's gone. Can you help find her?" The aisle seat stood empty. Crew members and police discovered her mother had disembarked mid-route, deliberately shaking her off like unwanted baggage. Passengers clucked about heartless mothers and poor orphans within earshot. The girl sat motionless, weathering the storm in silence. I showed the officers my ID, leaving my address and contact. When I stepped off the train, my meager possessions now included a child. The derelict courtyard in my hometown slowly transformed under my care, vegetable patches replacing weeds. My grandmother's portrait, newly framed, watched over the living room from its place of honor. I named the girl Sophie, filing the adoption papers until my household register finally showed two names. Sophie rarely smiled, her grave eyes missing nothing. At 4, she stood on stools to cook congee when I fell ill. I remembered my biological son, the heir who received entire ski resorts for winter whims, candy factories for sweet cravings. Liam lived in a different universe. "Why keep me?" Sophie once asked. "I'm just dead weight." I smoothed her hair. "I'm lonely. Will you stay?" She considered this solemnly before nodding. "Always." Days accumulated like autumn leaves, crisp, quiet, and somehow enough. Grace started preschool. Then she started elementary school. Grace became class president. Later, Grace got into a fight. I was surprised when the teacher called. Grace had always been a well-behaved, mature child who considered her classmates too childish to bother with. I rushed to school where the teacher met me at the gate. The fight was with Liam, a new transfer student. "Why did they fight?" I asked. The teacher gave me an odd look. "Liam claims Grace is trying to steal his mom. He saw your photo in Grace's pencil case and called her inappropriate names." My steps faltered. We entered the office where Ryan already waited. Grace sat quietly doing homework while Liam's face lit up when he saw me. "Mommy!" he cried, running to hug me. I gently disentangled him. "You've mistaken me, sweetheart." Meeting Ryan's gaze across the room, I stated, "I'm Sophie's mother." The air thickened with unspoken history. Liam wailed dramatically while Sophie clenched her pencil, irritation evident. When I suggested Sophie leave first, she departed without a backward glance. Liam immediately stopped crying and clung to my leg. "Don't be mad, Mommy. I'll be good, Mr. Johnson," I said evenly. "Shall we talk privately?" Our story wasn't complicated. Grace's grandmother had saved Ryan's grandmother from kidnappers decades ago, forging a bond between our families. When I moved here for college, Ryan became my occasional caretaker under family obligation. I'd been dazzled by him initially, who wouldn't? The golden boy with movie star looks who dated his childhood sweetheart through dramatic breakups and reunions. I contented myself with borrowed moments, him waiting at train stations with care packages. Brief smiles exchanged on campus. Now Ryan stood before me again. Tension crackling between us as Liam clung to my skirt. The child who shouldn't exist. The man who shouldn't care. The life I'd carefully built trembling on its axis. During my junior year, I started an internship. Since the company was far from campus, I spent hours commuting daily. One day, I ran into Ryan at the station. When he casually asked about my situation, I mentioned the exhausting routine. Soon after, his grandmother from the Wilson family called, offering their vacant property near my workplace. Grateful yet unable to decline elders' kindness, I moved in. The house bore Ryan's presence everywhere. Self-conscious about my growing feelings, I confined my belongings to the guest room, minimizing traces of my existence. Until that night, returning late from overtime work, I found a drunken Ryan slumped on the sofa, hesitating between propriety and concern. I fetched a blanket. His eyes fluttered open. Instead of questioning my presence, he pulled me down. What followed became fragmented memories, the mind's merciful defense against unbearable pain. My first and only intimacy happened with someone calling another's name. Ironically, Ryan only ever used my full name once, our initial meeting at the train station when he'd scrutinized me. Grace? Yes. Years later, we stood amidst overgrown ivy in deserted school corridors. You wanted to talk? Ryan's impatience mirrored our divorce papers. What have you told Liam these 4 years? My voice stayed steady despite the ache. I've kept my distance. Transferred child support monthly. Children forget easily. Especially when he remembers. Ryan turned away. Grandmother mentions you often. Then why transfer his school? He insisted. Ryan's jaw tightened. The golden child's whims overruled even his principles. Smiling bitterly, I shrugged. Disappointment will send him back. I've always been unlikable. Returning to my hometown, I opened a tiny diner. Limited seating bred exclusivity, accidentally making it a viral hotspot. 18-year-old Grace dreamed coding fortunes, 38-year-old Grace finds peace in 90 square meter simplicity. Liam arrives daily after school. Chauffeur delivered. The clever boy only misbehaved during our reunion. Ryan rarely appears, all interactions filtered through hired drivers. I don't understand the Wilson family's logic, treasuring their heir yet leaving him in this backwater town. I let him stay. He's my last blood relative. I once nursed his fevers for sleepless nights. Crafted toys until my hands bled. Selfishness colors all human kindness, my care sought no returns. Yet when met with his childhood revulsion, even stones feel hurt. When he was very young, Liam clung to me constantly. He needed me by his side to fall asleep and demanded to be carried whenever we went out. My survival through countless humiliations and hardships during my time with the Wilson family depended entirely on his dependency. But as he developed self-awareness, learning to walk, to say no, he gradually grew distant. I became the disciplinarian who stopped him from eating too much candy. The strict figure correcting his tantrums. Children don't understand right from wrong. Only that I imposed restrictions. So his withdrawal was inevitable. The breaking point came when Ryan took him out one day. Returning home, Liam declared with chilling conviction, I don't want you as my mom anymore. I want Aunt Emily instead. You don't deserve to be my mother. Get out! This is my house. Sophie later asked privately if she could stop being friends with Liam, confessing she disliked him. When I asked why, my usually easygoing daughter, who rarely expresses strong opinions, said flatly, he hurts you. You always get sad around him. Her small hands clenched. He knows it upsets you but keeps coming back. Can I beat him up? I can't take that grown up yet. But I could win against Liam. She paused. Then pleaded, Mom, enroll me in martial arts. I'll get strong enough to protect you. True to her word, Sophie trained relentlessly. Her instructor marveled, "Your Sophie outworks teenagers twice her size." Their dedication mocked Ryan's sneering prophecy, "What kind of woman could ever love you?" How wrong he'd been. Grandma Wilson loved me. Sophie loved me. Now, finally, I loved myself too. Ryan occasionally appeared at my diner. Always arriving travel-worn. He'd order 2 dishes. Eat silently. Then collect Liam. Neighbors whispered about the wealthy bachelor pursuing a divorced mom. I laughed it off, he's just here for custody transfers. Gone were the days of obsessing over his motives. His comings and goings meant nothing now. The real puzzle was Liam's persistence. Why did the city-raised boy linger for months in our sleepy town without malls or amusement parks? Perhaps my indifference fueled his determination. Whenever I brushed Sophie's hair or presented her with secret desserts, I'd catch his wistful expression, instantly replaced by practiced smiles if noticed. Affection warps perception. Once, a scraped knee would have wrecked me. Now, seeing his forced bravery stirred nothing. I caught myself thinking, when will you leave? Your presence here, it's exhausting. Summer arrived. When Liam didn't appear after closing time, I assumed he'd finally abandoned this charade. Yet there he sat at dusk by our gate. Ryan beside him, holding an ornate cake box. Passers-by admired their movie star looks. But the pair only stared at our door, 2 beautiful ghosts haunting a life that had outgrown them. "Dad, when will Grace be back?" "Soon. We specifically came to celebrate her birthday and prepared all these gifts." "Do you think she'll be happy?" "She will." Liam pressed his lips together, his face blooming with anticipation. Dressed in a formal little suit, he'd clearly put effort into his appearance. The stifling heat had left faint beads of sweat on his forehead, or perhaps it wasn't the weather, but the nervous energy thrumming through him. I paused nearby, but Sophie marched straight up to the father-son pair. "You've got it wrong," she declared brightly. "Grace's birthday isn't today." "You're lying." Liam rarely confronted Sophie directly anymore, knowing I doted on her. But now he shot to his feet, cheeks flushing. "Grace's birthday is today. We share the same birthday. I'd never forget." Ryan stood when he noticed me, silent yet expectant. "Grace." My name sounded foreign on his tongue. "Happy birthday." I jingled my keys, unlocking the garden gate. "Forgot to mention, I changed my birthday." Meeting his gaze evenly, I added, "Not that it matters to you, right?" I used to adore birthdays. Grandma Wilson, that tiny woman with her flair for ceremony, would cook a feast, bake an elaborate cake, and wrap exquisite gifts. Even after I left for college, she'd fly cross-country every year to watch me blow out candles, her frail body braving the journey. With her, I never felt alone. During my last birthday with her, I was 8 months pregnant with Liam. I'd hidden the morning sickness, the swelling ankles, the loneliness, pretended Ryan doted on me. The truth? We coexisted like strangers in that house. His disdain a physical weight. I understood. Our drunken mistake should have stayed secret. But when his grandmother walked in that morning with her damn chicken soup, everything unraveled. The old woman didn't care about Ryan's existing relationship with Emily. Didn't ask if I wanted this marriage. Her bony finger jabbed my shoulder. "Grace, you don't want your grandmother worrying, do you? The Wilson family takes responsibility. The pregnancy sealed it." I became expert at swallowing truths, the Wilson family's contempt, Emily's venomous glares, Ryan's cold shoulders, the physical agony of carrying his child. Grandma Wilson arrived that final birthday bearing gifts for both me and her unborn great-grandson. "I'm staying until the baby comes," she announced, eyes crinkling. She never saw Liam take his first breath. That afternoon, I took her to lunch. I witnessed Emily and Ryan holding hands affectionately and sharing sweet kisses with my own eyes. Then Grandma suffered a heart attack and was hospitalized. My resentment toward Ryan probably started then. The one who made the mistake wasn't me. I was the biggest victim. Why did I have to bear all the bitter consequences? Grandma was rushed into the emergency room immediately upon arrival at the hospital. Soon after, the Wilson family arrived. Ryan's grandmother slapped him hard across the face right in front of me. But I no longer wanted to stop her. I just kept staring anxiously at the operating room doors, praying the doctors would bring good news. Yet the surgical lights dimmed too soon. The doctor emerged, regretfully telling me to say my final goodbyes. How cruel, to say goodbye. My grandma had been smiling and holding my hand just an hour earlier, showing me the soft baby clothes she'd sewn for her precious grandchild. Now I was supposed to bid farewell? Ryan's grandmother wept bitterly, repeatedly apologizing to me and Grandma. I heard none of it, clinging desperately to Grandma's cooling hand like a lifeline. I knew you've been unhappy in this marriage. You just didn't want me to worry. Grandma looked at me with heartbreak from her hospital bed, tears streaming down her wrinkled face. I'm sorry, Grace. I won't be here to protect you anymore, her voice broke. What if someone hurts you? Who will take care of my girl? Who can I entrust you to now? Dear Grace. I swear I'll treat her well. Ryan's grandmother cried dramatically, yanking Ryan forward to make promises. Ryan knelt by the bed, vowing I'll take good care of her. Grandma. You have my word. Grandma gazed at him through clouded eyes, smiling sorrowfully. My greatest regret was ever asking your family to look after her. She squeezed my hand one last time, her eyes overflowing with love and regret, before slipping away forever. That night, through agonizing contractions and desperate screams, I gave birth to Liam in that same hospital. Perhaps out of guilt, Ryan stopped seeing Emily frequently after Grandma's death. He helped care for Liam, though we maintained a polite distance. Emily left the country to nurse her broken heart, fading from our lives. I thought this would be my life, a loveless marriage, a husband who merely tolerated me, and a sweet son. But Emily returned, and the moment she reappeared, she reclaimed Ryan and Liam's undivided attention. Every scrap of familial warmth I'd barely grasped, every hope for love I'd never attained, Emily took them all without hesitation. On Liam's birthday, Emily promised him an amazing surprise. My son abandoned me without second thought, racing into her arms. Ryan said, Emily still feels awkward around you, leaving me alone on my birthday. He promised to bring Liam home by sunset. They never returned. At midnight, Ryan called to say Liam had fallen asleep during their outing. We'll stay at a hotel to avoid waking him, he said. Through the endless night, I sat by the window remembering Grandma's dying words, what if no one treats you well after I'm gone? Grandma. I hate birthdays now. When they finally appeared the next morning, I let them in out of courtesy. Sophie brought over the wall calendar, pointing at a red-circled date. This is Mommy's real birthday. Liam stared at me with tearful uncertainty, that expression identical to his father's. Perhaps I was merely the incubator, for Liam shares no resemblance with me at all. Ryan piled gifts in a corner. I messed up this time. Next. There won't be a next time. I cut him off coldly. Don't come again. He froze mid-motion, back rigid. After prolonged silence, he turned hesitantly. Can we talk privately? How novel, Ryan requesting conversation. I prepared sweet drinks for the children, turned on cartoons, then led Ryan to the garden gazebo. It's lovely here, he remarked awkwardly. Thank you. I met his gaze directly. Say what you need to say. I notice there aren't any other men around you right now, Ryan said. If you don't mind, could we remarry? I stared at him without responding. Ryan awkwardly averted his gaze. I just think a child deserves a complete family. Liam's temperament has changed lately, he's not as spoiled or willful as before. So, you never married Emily? Ryan froze. Back then, everyone told me she was the proper match for you, the rightful mother of Liam. Though you never said it outright. I assumed you agreed. That's why I stepped aside. What happened? Didn't things work out? He couldn't hold my gaze. His fingers clenching and unclenching. That's all in the past. So are we. But we share a child. What of it? Stop using others as excuses. Ryan. First it was Emily. Now Liam. My smile turned bittersweet. Is admitting you have feelings for me really that difficult? I used to wonder how embarrassingly inadequate I must have seemed for him to refuse acknowledging me. Yet affection is impossible to fully conceal. Though I never said I love Ryan. My flushed ears and racing heart betrayed me. Our marriage lasted 4 years. Though prone to people-pleasing, I couldn't have endured that long without some flicker of hope from him. When his affection began, or how deep it ran, I'll never know. I'd inherited my grandmother's mindset: when something breaks, you mend it rather than replace it. I applied that to marriage, thinking if I tried harder, maybe we could improve things. I scavenged for scraps of his love, collecting them like scattered embers to light my path. Eventually, they illuminated the truth, a road riddled with thorns and reeking of decay. Those feeble sparks couldn't warm me or sustain the journey. They only revealed how wretched our union truly was. I once wondered if your rigid morals prevented loving anyone but Emily. Then realized, if you truly had such principles, you wouldn't have flirted with your first love while married. You're simply selfish. Even now, you use Liam missing me as your excuse to reconnect. But Ryan, we've been divorced 4 years. He swallowed thickly. So, I'm too late? Not late. Just irrelevant now. My sigh carried finality. Move forward, Ryan. He covered his eyes, shoulders trembling. Witnessing his vulnerability brought no satisfaction. I rose quietly, granting him privacy. As I turned to leave, he grabbed my skirt, knuckles whitening, veins protruding. His haggard frame shook with suppressed sobs. Don't come again, I said, smoothing my dress. Build your life with Liam elsewhere. Oh, and my birthday now falls on our divorce anniversary, the day I found Sophie. She didn't know her birth date. So we chose that day as our fresh start. Consider it your early gift to me, the gift of peace. Thank you, Ryan. He left with Liam silently. The boy clung to my leg screaming, face crimson and breath hitching, as if his world were ending. I won't go. Let me go. I want Mommy, he struggled desperately, pleading with me. Mommy, please don't leave me. Okay? I'll be good and listen to you. I won't make you sad anymore. Don't send me away. Daddy. You liar. You said Mommy would forgive me. Liar. Jerk. Go away. Mommy, Mommy. The car door slammed shut. I watched Liam sob against the window, pounding the glass with his tiny fists, staring at me with heartbroken eyes. Ryan yanked him back, pinning him down as he growled at the driver, "Go." He never looked at me again, not once. Not even a glance. Sophie stood beside me, tugging at my sleeve. What's wrong? I asked softly, crouching to meet her gaze. They won't come back, right? No, they won't. Mommy, are you sad? I just smiled and ruffled her hair. Sophie, everything passes. Remember this, no matter how painful something feels. If you keep moving forward without looking back, you'll get through it. I've walked far ahead. But Ryan and Liam, they seem stuck where we left them. Not that it matters. We were never on the same path to begin with. That night, I dreamed of years ago, back when Liam was born. Exhausted from caring for him, I'd fallen asleep on the couch. In my drowsy haze, Ryan carried me upstairs after work, gently laying me on the bed. He brushed hair from my forehead and kissed me softly. Good night, sweetheart. Back then, I truly believed we'd grow old together. Later, I learned lifetimes are too long for anyone to walk side by side till the end. He was a vivid chapter in my quiet story, nothing more. Ryan, you and I, we ended long before today. Epilogue 1. The Wilson family sank into gloom after Ryan and Grace's divorce. The woman nobody wanted was finally gone. Yet the expected relief never came. Ryan spoke even less than usual, drowning himself in work trips and collapsing into bed whenever home. Liam remained oblivious at first, dragging nannies around the mansion and throwing tantrums over trivial things until one day he asked, "Where's Mommy?" The nanny froze. Liam crawled under tables, checked closets, searched the garden. Huh? Where's Mommy hiding? Children forget easily. But Liam remembered. He could still picture Grace's last morning there, how she'd knelt to pat his head, smiling. "Lee, I'm leaving. I used to wish you'd be obedient. But now I see you're free to be whoever you want. Be happy, okay?" He'd ignored her then, resenting her rules. Now, surrounded by empty rooms where her presence once lingered, the ache finally hit. That evening when Ryan returned, Liam reached for his hand unprompted. "Dad, did you fight with Mom?" Liam stopped in his tracks and looked up at Ryan. Liam's youthful face scrunched into a frown. "Can't you apologize and make up with Mom? I haven't seen her in forever. I want her sweet and sour spare ribs tonight. Will she come?" Ryan studied Liam's entitled expression, his blank mask cracking into a malicious grin. "We didn't fight. We divorced. Know what that means? It means she abandoned you. She'll never see you again. No matter what you do. You're trash she threw away. Got it?" He savored the terror dawning on the boy's face, twisting the knife deeper. "Liam, your mother replaced you. She'll have new kids, cuter, better behaved. You're nothing to her now. You're lying. Mom would never." Liam shrieked, tears spilling. "You're the one she left. She told me I'm her favorite." Ryan barked out a laugh. Still believing that fairy tale? Favorite? Pathetic. "Ryan, what vile nonsense are you spewing at a child?" A senior member of the Johnson family hurried over, gathering the sobbing boy. "Hush now, Lee. Dad's just teasing. Mom's visiting family. She'll be back soon. Now. I want her now." Liam thrashed like a hooked fish. Ryan watched coldly, detached from the scene even when his son gagged from crying too hard. He simply turned toward the staircase. The master bedroom remained frozen in time since Grace left, down to the wall-sized wedding portrait. Ryan never understood his own compulsion to preserve these relics. When he'd broken up with Emily years ago, he'd incinerated every memento within hours. Yet Grace's belongings stayed untouched, as if removing them meant conceding defeat. He'd convinced himself the divorce liberated him from an unwanted marriage. This was victory, not heartbreak. 6 months later, Emily asked him over whiskey, "Should we get married?" Ryan swirled his drink. Liam's still throwing tantrums over Grace. "He'd riot if we did." Emily's smile turned knife-sharp. "I admire your dedication to self-delusion." Years later at Liam's 18th birthday dinner, the now teenager mentioned offhand, "Grace got married today. Some quiet tech guy. The wedding was small but nice." Ryan kept chewing his steak, eyes fixed on his plate. Their relationship had always been this way, more business partners than father-son. He didn't mention attending the ceremony himself, nor the rejected check in the red envelope. "Keep it," he'd told Grace outside the venue. "Consider it closure." She'd pushed the envelope back, sunlight glinting off her new wedding band. "You've given me everything I needed long ago. She wore a simple dress, far less elaborate than the one from her wedding with Ryan. Yet her smile radiated genuine warmth Ryan had never seen before. He glanced at her once before looking away, terrified that another second might reduce him to begging through tears, begging Grace not to marry this man, not to leave him behind. The dressing room fell silent until a knock came. "Is the bride ready?" "Time for the ceremony." "All set." Grace stood, smoothing her dress. "Liam's outside too. Why don't we all have lunch before you go?" "No." Ryan rose abruptly, striding toward the door. His hand froze on the knob. "There's something I never told you." She tilted her head. I used to get jealous. Of Liam. And your grandmother." At Grace's startled expression, he continued flatly. "Everyone claimed I was obsessed with you. Yet I always felt second to an old woman. Then Liam was born," his throat tightened. "Whenever he cried, I vanished from your world. I hated him for that. Wanted every shred of your attention." A bitter laugh escaped him. "Turns out wanting everything means losing even what you had." He stared at the floral-patterned door. "That night, I wasn't drunk. Not a single drop." When he finally turned, Grace's tear-streaked makeup undid him. "If you're ever unhappy, call me. But if you're happy," his smile cracked. "Don't tell me. I'm not noble enough to hear it." He'd known about the programmer since day one. Dark fantasies had consumed him, sabotaging flowers, leaking scandalous photos. Anything to tarnish this new chapter. But watching Grace laugh with her fiancé last week, sunlight catching her eyelashes exactly like that long-ago summer day. The first time he saw her, Ryan had been sulking over fetching some country cousin when she materialized at the airport arrivals, mid-text complaining to friends. He'd looked up and forgotten how to breathe. She'd walked through the sweltering terminal like living air conditioning, all breeze-kissed hair and dappled shadow smiles. The church bells echoed in his memory. "Do you, Ryan, take Grace?" "I do." His whispered answer dissolved into empty air as he walked away from the dressing room, from the woman who still wore his last name in her medical records. The exit doors hissed open, midday sunlight burning his retinas. Some loves were wildfires, all-consuming, destructive, ultimately reduced to smoke. Ryan inhaled the acrid sting of gasoline from the waiting limousine. Let the programmer give her picket fences and bedtime stories. Let them grow old trading horoscopes and cholesterol medications. He'd keep their scorched earth. This was the ending he'd earned.